There's an island, a place with surreal landscapes, rugged wilderness, much of it unpopulated. An outdoor enthusiast's dream. I feel so fortunate to call this place my home. For years, I have explored here, scaled its many peaks, hiked its trails, and drove the many roads that led to adventures that I will never forget. Yet even though I have traveled all around this island, there's always more to see, more adventures to experience. It truly amazes me that still much of this island goes unexplored by its local population and those who choose to come visit here. When I try to explain about this place to those who have never been here before, I always find it hard to put into words the feelings, the pride I have living here. So I had this idea to take a visual journey, a bird's eye view around this entire island, and to share this beautiful country on an RV road trip, uninhibited and with complete freedom. So join me as I hit the road from mountain peaks to rocky coasts, as I explore this truly amazing, supernatural North Island of Japan. This is Shiratoku Peninsula, a World Heritage Site and a national park. An experience like no other. Wild, untamed, it's almost like stepping back into time to when much of this land was unexplored and uninhabited. My kind of place. And the reason I decided to start my visual journey here. As I followed one of the few roads leading through the mountain pass, alpine meadows teeming with wildlife and spectacular landscapes become more and more intense. You clearly see why this place is so special. As the wind picked up, the smell of lush vegetation and salt air from the nearby sea was a unique combination. Traveling through here, a sense of excitement builds inside of me, as this day has been already so amazing, and yet this was only the beginning. Continuing along the coast and through another mountain pass, fog clears to reveal the stunning crater lakes of Mashu and Akan. Lake Mashu, the first of the two lakes, is widely considered to be one of the most beautiful lakes in Japan. Because of the high altitude, it's often clouded at the top, but I was lucky, and the weather cleared and both lakes revealed their magnificence. It was from here, near Akan Lake, that I decided to venture out and summit the nearby peaks of Meiakan, one of Hokkaido's most active volcanoes, and the adjacent peak of Oakan, also known as Akan Fuji. It's like something from a dream, and yet walking here is a true awakening to the awesome power of the earth we live on. The next day, I headed to Kushiro Shitsugen National Park, home of the Kushiro wetlands. Once underwater, these wetlands gradually drained between 4,000 and 6,000 years ago, leaving what we see today. I followed the river until it led to one of the most spectacular access points. Vast and lush green, you can really see the scale here, as the park occupies around 28,000 hectares. Although the weather was foggy, which it often is, it's still incredibly stunning and almost like another world. As the weather cleared, mountain meadows became rolling hills. Country roads led me through the rural and picturesque landscape of Biei, located in the center of Hokkaido. Panoramic views seem like patchwork quilts with so many colors and patterns. It's no wonder they called this area Patchwork Road. Looming in the distance is the Tokachi mountain range, located in Daisetsu-san National Park. As I drove the winding country roads, the terrain became mountainous again, and the reward for the drive was the absolutely stunning blue pond, a phenomenon created by the mixture of water, sulfur, and natural aluminum elements of the cliffside where Shirahige Falls runs off and creates the magical blue color. The next day, I scaled the peak of Mount Tokachi, the highest volcano in the Tokachi mountain group, with a height of 2,077 meters. This mountain is one of the top 100 mountains in Japan, and one of my favorites, as the epic scenery of this area goes beyond any words that I could say to describe it. The following day, I arrived in Sonkyo in Kamikawa district. Looming above is Mount Kurodake, another one of the major peaks in the Daisetsu-san National Park. This area is truly wild and was one of the highlights of the trip thus far, as the twin falls Ginge and Rusei crash down the high cliffs above. I explored this amazing gorge that often goes unnoticed by people who drive through here. As rivers converge and snake through dense forests and canyons, I knew this was definitely the place I wanted to camp for the night. As the sun rose the following morning, I take the journey heading coastal, driving through the high alpine highway system called Mikuni Pass. Taking this route gives you stunning views of the surrounding mountains and a rare experience to access high alpine tundra by car. As I pass through, I make my way to an area called Kamishihoro, an area that sits on the base on the other side of the Tokachi mountain range. In this area, I decided to take a break at a unique dairy farm that offers RV users a personal experience of Hokkaido farm life. As I look over the fields where livestock roam, I can see the weather starting to change. In my head, I plan the next epic destination. As I make my way southwest along the rocky coast to the point of Edimo, I understand why this place is famous for its wind. Edimo Misaki protrudes far out into the Pacific Ocean, creating a barrier between clashing cold and warm fronts. The result is unusual weather and fierce winds, but nothing would prepare me for what I was about to see. As I stood there watching, three weather fronts converged together, creating a spectacle of light. This phenomenal scene takes place before my eyes, and I just stood there in awe. As the weather passed over me and the sun sets for the evening, the whole scene disappeared as if nothing ever happened at all. And yet I felt so fortunate the whole scene took place and I was the only one to experience it. The next morning, as the sun rises to reveal a glimmering golden sea, I head along the coast to an area called Naboribets. Morning mist gives way to a spectacular scene of rock formations and the protruding peak of Mount Yote in the distance. As I venture off the beaten path, new discoveries await me. Rivers lead to waterfalls of incredible beauty. I drive up to explore natural hot spring pools, and steam vents seem to surround me everywhere. Hot spring water boils out of the ground. They call this place Hell Valley, a great description for an unbelievable place. As I cross eastern Japan's largest suspension bridge called Hakucho Ohashi Bridge, I find myself surrounded by industrial factories. This is Muroran. A unique combination of a steel manufacturing city stands next to the incredible scenic beauty of a coastline unlike anywhere else in Hokkaido. An amazing road leads to Cape Chikyu, widely considered to be one of the most scenic spots in Japan. Cape Chikyu Lighthouse stands guard 100 meters above the ocean floor, and the view is so wide you can see the curvature of the earth. The adventure continues as I make my way to Shikotsu Toya National Park, where amazing Lake Toya, a caldera lake, awaits. This pristine lake also serves as the gateway to my entrance into the Niseko area, home of the giant volcano Mount Yote that resembles Japan's Mount Fuji. Following a highly scenic road, I pass through the thriving community and ski resort town of Hirafu as I make my way to Mount Iwaonupuri. As I summit the mountain, the clouds cleared, revealing spectacular views of the alpine tundra and the nearby town of Kuchan. As I head back on the road coastal bound, I am constantly reminded how beautiful this area is. With Mount Yote looming in the distance, I think to myself how lucky people are to call this area their home. In the rural eastern area of Hakodate on the Oshima Peninsula is a spectacular mountain called Mount E, otherwise known as Isan. It's like a different world. Sulfuric gas leaks out of the mountain, creating a natural vortex. Rock formations of many colors point out in all directions, creating a sight beyond the imagination. The access here is easy and the view is stunning. Once at the top, you are rewarded with a complete panoramic view over the coastline. As I admire the view, I think about the next destination in my mind. As the weather is outstanding and I can see the route I will take, I make my way further up the coast, passing through Onuma Quasi-National Park in the central part of Oshima Peninsula. where at the base of Mount Komagatake are lush forests and lakes with tiny islands. "20 kilometers further up the coast is the city of Hakodate. This historical picturesque city is famous for its night view, which is considered to be the #1 view in Japan. The narrow land that separates Hakodate Bay from the Tsugaru Strait is amazing to see and is best viewed from the top of Mount Hakodate. Making my way up the coast, I arrive at the southern end of Hokkaido to the area of Matsumai, the location of Hokkaido's only Edo period castle. It was here that I decided to stop for the evening. Making my way along a jagged coast of crystal clear water along the Sea of Japan, the drive gets more spectacular. This is the beginning of one of my favorite areas in Hokkaido. At the start of this drive is the seaside community of Setena. In my opinion, it has one of the most scenic drives in all of Hokkaido. Following the ridge, windy roads lead me through an incredible wind farm with a view of the neighboring mountains of Shimamaki. From this point, the mountains become more epic. Peaks of all shapes and sizes pierce the clouds, creating a dreamlike scene. Massive cliffs, caves, and dense forests border a rocky coast as the historical Old Coast Road stands long forgotten. It is from here that I access the mountain road that leads to Shimamaki. Rugged wilderness, roaring rivers, and mountain streams snake through the forest, adding to my excitement as I race to see one of the top waterfalls in Japan. Deep in the gorge, at the base of Mount Kariba, a deep roaring sound can be heard as I venture in. Gado Falls presents itself standing 70 meters. This difficult-to-access falls is absolutely breathtaking. Neighboring Shimamaki is the mountainous peninsula of Shakotan. This area along the western coast is famous for its blue color and has some of the clearest coastlines in all of Hokkaido. Rock formations caused by marine erosion create natural stone pillars, lagoons, and jagged capes, making the view here unique to only this area. As I passed through, I stopped at Cape Kamui, where a small tunnel gives you access to an amazing coast view, as a lighthouse stands guard overhead. Walking along the rocky beach, you clearly see why this place is so special. Further up the coast stands Cape Misaki, famous for its candle-like rock formations off its point. With that rock formation in view, I camped for the evening as I watched the amazing sunset before me. Further up the coast, passing Nikki Town, I arrive in the small harbor city of Otaru. Along the coastline here, small fishing villages tucked in coves create a beautiful landscape. A favorite spot for rock climbers taking in the majestic view over the deep blue sea. Tall cliffs become sandy beaches, bustling with activity, as this is near the largest city in Hokkaido, Sapporo. The weather was good, so I made a detour to a mountainous valley, home to Mount Hakkenzan, a sawtooth-shaped mountain with one of the most narrowest summit trails in all of Hokkaido. From the peak, you get a panoramic view of the surrounding mountains and the city of Sapporo. I am now on the final leg of my journey to Japan's northernmost point, passing rivers and lakes with incredible shorelines. Beautiful rock formations rise out of the forests. Rocky terrain become jagged mountains. The sharp peak of Mount Kagone as I pass through Hamamasu. Mountains become vast shorelines with beaches that stretch as far as the eye can see as I make my way to the famous Cape Soya wind farm. Traversing the rolling hills to the famous white road created by crushed scallop shells that gleam in the sunlight. It's been a long journey, and I finally arrive at Japan's most northern point, a triangular-shaped monument that features the North Star as its inspiration stands as I watch the sun over a calm sea. Rising 1,720 meters from the Sea of Japan is the incredible Mount Rishiri. Situated on Rishiri Island, I consider this mountain to be one of the most spectacular, as its towering peak is unlike any other mountain in Hokkaido. At its base, mountain mist reveals the beautiful Himanuma Pond as I make my way to the local airport to experience the only real way to see Mount Rishiri from the air. Adrenaline builds inside of me, as this was my first opportunity to really see the true scale of this mountain from a high elevation. As we cruise around the peak, I can't help to think how amazing this place is. The experience and adventures that I've had, the things that I've seen. And even though this trip has been so amazing, there's so much more to see. As I drive around the island, I explore the sights, hang out with my friends, and see their reactions to this beautiful place. I feel inspiration, motivation, and an idea builds inside of me. I want to do this again. A winter trip to explore this most incredible place. To take the RV on one more adventure and explore the best winter destinations this island has to offer. To reveal why this island truly is one of the most amazing places in Japan. And to share my journey, my pride, and my passion for this surreal, supernatural island of Hokkaido.